We're going live on the YouTube. We are streaming. We are
It's only
streaming.
Tuesday. It feels like it's like Monday
Wednesday.
again.
We're going
Like
back in
it's,
time, huh?
I feel like it some days. This week's like, it feels like a long one already. I don't know why.
Well, good thing it just started. You get to enjoy like everything.
Well, it's technically, like I said, it's Freak Week this week because, it's the week before Halloween. So
That is true. That is true. What we
it's
got?
Freak Week.
Blue moons coming up and
Blue moon on Saturday.
kinds
That's
of good stuff.
two full moons in 1 month.
How special
That's
is
a blue
that?
moon. Yeah. And it's going to be Halloween and we're going to set our clocks back and hopefully like everybody said, that's going to be like a hard reset. Everything will go back to normal.
One can only hope. One can
One
only
can
hope.
only hope.
Oh, and I got a new plugin that I got to set up for you also.
What does it do?
It's called Vocal Rider, and it actually rides the fader up and down based on how much noise it gets from your microphone.
Oh, okay. I'm using the internal microphone right now because with all of that stuff, I didn't I didn't have time to put in the other microphone. So and it's having US only two USB ports is no bueno.
No bueno, yeah. Gotta fix that one of these days.
Well, I have an extension one, but it doesn't work with everything. So
That's not good.
it likes direct input.
Direct input. All right, we'll have to play with your audio a little bit.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
Oh, it just gave me a notification. Starting in 3 minutes.
did it? All
Whoop, whoop.
right.
Yep.
Glad the Facebook is
Notification.
working for us.
Yeah.
I don't know if I got anything. Oh, I got one too from Facebook. Did not receive anything from the YouTube though. I wonder why the YouTube be like that.
I don't
Why
know.
be like that? All right. Facebook has not received blah blah blah. It is. Ooh, we can do a poll. We could ask questions on
Ooh.
the Facebook.
What do you want to
It
ask?
almost makes you wonder. It's almost, well, I guess not everybody's on the Facebook though, as far as doing some, if you're doing an event going through some other platform that has the polling and the questions and all of that. Like, just run it through Facebook. But not everybody wants to be on Facebook, so
That's true.
I get
This
it.
is
I
true.
get it.
Yeah, I don't have my fancy pink light in here. I'm in my
Yeah,
office now, so new location.
you're gonna have to. We're gonna have to start working on all that.
I know. I got to get me all set up.
Mm-hmm. You have good face lighting though, with that
I
window.
got a window right in front of me.
Yeah, yeah. Good times, good times.
Window with just the light isn't direct, so it's perfect right now.
Yeah, yeah. Get some that sheer cloth, whatever it is, like satin. What is it, rayon or something?
I don't know. Well, I've got this shade that's
Yeah, I've seen it.
it doesn't look pretty,
I've
but
seen it.
it's sort of helpful.
Yeah, I get it. All right, we're almost going live here. This is where, oh, we
We
still
are.
don't have background music.
I know,
When
huh?
are we going to have background music?
We
I
gotta put
feel
that on
like
the list.
I feel like we need to be like those other live people that are always, they don't talk at all.
Woo! Party.
And then there's other
Just
people, they
in the
have like a
background.
full 10-minute, they call it the pre-show,
Oh,
and they
nice.
just they sit there and they just talk during the pre-show,
Well, that's what
which,
we're doing.
yeah, exactly. Which is smart because if anything technical happens, at least you got a little bit of a buffer
Yes,
before
thankfully we got on early. So
yeah.
new
New setups, new times.
setups.
All
That's
right, here
right.
we go.
Here we go.
All right, it's official. We're going live. Welcome, Sue, and
Oh,
congratulations on your new office.
oh, thank you. Yeah, a little bit different. I don't have my pink light set up yet. I got to get it all dialed in and looking really pretty. So
Yeah,
I got to work on that.
but you're here. We've got everything working. There was some internet stuff we had to figure out before the show started. In case you missed
Tech,
the pre-show, it's one of the reasons why we do a pre-show is to kind of give a buffer for any technical issues, last second type of things.
which inevitably it's
It
technology.
happens.
This is where we live right now.
Yep.
So
And
yep,
it's the joys of being live.
yes,
So
absolutely.
you always have a backup plan, even if that black backup plan is I'm gonna wing it. Because sometimes that's the best you can do is just
I do
wing
that a
it.
lot too. I can wing it, no problem.
Yeah. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about, and I don't have it. I have it right here in front of me because if I don't have my notes, then I forget everything. But actually, it's not even on here. I don't have the title on here, even though I have a great title. So I'm just going to keep on talking
You're just
until
gonna wing it.
I find the document here that says our title, which is Effective Live Streaming for Nonprofits.
There you
And
go.
yeah, because here we are, we're in October, kind of 2020 took a major change in March. People started figuring out that they had to go live in some way. I would say by April was kind of after, it's almost like you get whacked in the head and you're almost like, oh, let me
I
come
guess we
to.
should do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's almost like this realization that wow, we were not able to do all of the fun things, locally here in Sonoma County, Santa Rosa, crab feeds,
Yeah, I know.
wine with dinner.
All the big
We're in
live
wine country,
auctions
live
and live
auctions.
entertainment and
The
yeah.
what's the one with the gals with all the fancy hats and horses?
Oh yeah, the Derby day, like the Derby day at the
Yeah, the
races
Derby
and yeah,
Day, and then there's Catwalk
exactly.
for a Cure that you have been involved
Yes.
with for so many
First,
years.
yes.
What
So
was the dancing one?
the Dancing with the Stars. I was supposed to be in Dancing with the Stars. I was supposed to be
Yeah,
one of the stars.
you
I didn't
still are, and
I
you
didn't
still
get to
dance
dance
every
though.
now and then.
It's every so often I do.
So, so needless to say, a lot has changed in the last however
Yes.
many months. It seems like it's been 10 years, even though it's only been
Yes.
what 6 months or whatever it
Nine,
may be,
nine,
9 months. Um,
nine, close to
so
nine.
we've been working with a number of nonprofits, so we actually have some hands-on experience. Sue, your background with nonprofit goes how far back?
Oh gosh, I don't know. 20 years at least.
At
At
least.
least
Yeah.
putting on events and things like that. So yeah, and doing events for when I my family owned a winery, we put on a lot of live events, a lot of event planning. So there's I've got the experience behind me, but now it's like we said, it's
We got to
changing
put it
up
to
a little
use.
bit. We got to put
So
it to use and we got to change things up a little bit.
that's
So
what we're going to do. And speaking of changing it up, now that we've introduced
yes,
the show, let's change it up. It's always
that's
fun
the
having.
dance music.
There's the dance music. We just need to get that as part of the intro on loop.
I
Hopefully,
know,
it's a
I know.
longer. It's not just
Oh
that
yeah,
12-second.
oh yeah, no, I
Otherwise,
got
we
it.
go a little nuts after a couple of minutes. So, let's just jump right into it.
Okay.
Nonprofits, they're making change. I mean,
Yep.
we've done a number of events. We've seen a number of events, and there's all kinds of takes on it and
Yeah.
different things. We're going to talk about some things that we feel have worked. And I know before the show started, we were talking about this specific show and some of the topics, and there are some things that are not working, it appears, that
Yeah.
didn't really transition from live, like in person
Exactly.
live, to live
Exactly.
streaming.
Live streaming. Yeah.
So we'll be talking about that. But let's talk about what are some of the different ways that nonprofits can utilize live streaming to not only stay connected, keep their brand awareness out there, what their
Hmm.
cause, what they're doing, all the wonderful work that they're doing, but of course, they need to make money.
Raising money. Yeah. And it's definitely, a big part of that is education. as you go to, when you used to go to these live in-person events, you would get to meet all the key players. You'd be watching or seeing speakers talking about their experience and the testimonials that really pull on the heartstrings to, raise
You
that
could
money.
touch people.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, weird, gross. um, and the other piece of that too. Let's be honest. You go to those events, and you're next to people. You're right there with them. You're having a couple glasses of wine. Nothing wrong with that.
Hmm.
Enjoying your time, and really, it's with those live in person events. It was, you were kind of all in, and it was like the
Right.
excitement of everything, and people would get excited, and also it's like, oh, one of my table mates is donating, I should probably donate also,
Sure.
so
And
or
and
raise
if
my
you go
hand.
back, I mean, let's take the catwalk for a cure. I know you were involved with that for many years.
Yeah,
It almost becomes an anchor in your life. Like, oh, it's that time of the year.
yeah,
It's time. I know I'm going to see so and so. I'm excited about this because of all the great things. So we have kind of
exactly.
this emotional connection, this anchor in this time and space that we get together and what that expectation is. And it's so much
Yes.
fun.
It is so much fun. Well, we're going to try to figure out how to do this virtually, which there are some things that we figured out that are actually still fun.
Hmm.
And as we've said before, you see at the top of our little thing there, Zoom is for meetings. Meetings are boring. We're taking it to the next level. So instead of getting onto one more Zoom work call, we're actually going to have some fun with some interaction as well. So the entertainment piece, I think, is key for any nonprofits. Why am I going to go there? The majority of the people that are coming to those nonprofit events are already familiar with that nonprofit. They are fans, they are donors, they appreciate the cause already, and so they're going to come. But you also want to entertain them by, it's kind of a thank you to them for being there and maybe donating. Hopefully, they're going to be donating. Entertain them a little bit.
Yeah.
And we talked about that, the wine and food aspect. One of the cool things that you can do now is go deliver a care package to the people who sign up, who get the VIP or whatever it is, and you get a wine sponsor. You get the wine in the box, and you get a food sponsor, and you get the really cool food in the box, and then it's kind of like, oh, yeah, you know what? We're all enjoying the same thing. We're still having that experience. So that piece I like. I like
Right.
that, delivering a little care package, if you will.
Yeah, and I think
That,
one of the great things about that is that if you think about it from the end user's point of view, we're always trying to think is like, okay, how can we connect people? And while we may not be connected here or let's say in a Zoom breakout room or something like that, the fact that everyone else got something similar to what I'm doing. So I have my food and
yes,
I'm eating, or maybe I got a gift and part of the presentation is okay, go get your food ready, uncork that bottle of wine, or maybe it was a gift or a swag bag, something like that. You could have that as part of the event, and so now there's this community that's coming together. And granted, it's not the same as being in person, but the
it's
question is, how do
not.
we do the next best thing?
Exactly. And I think, being able to, even if, not everyone is on the screen together, in like a big, huge Zoom call, but if everybody has got that same bottle of Chardonnay or Pinot Noir, here from Sonoma County, you're all going to taste it. Maybe one of the educational pieces or entertainment things you do is you bring on a wine expert who's going to talk about that wine, the
Sure.
person from that winery, and you can kind of do that virtual tasting, taste along as one of those elements. That would be fun for me. Like,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
you know me, I'm the wine person. So I'm
For
like,
when
but
it
there's
comes to
wine
wine, yeah,
involved.
and the cool thing where you can bring this together is that um through live, and we talk about Zoom is a great tool. One of the great things about Zoom is that you can actually bring large groups of people together, and we actually incorporate Zoom into some of our live shows that we do, live events. And so if you wanted to, as the host, actually do a toast, and because everybody got the bottle of wine or whatever it might be, you could actually have a separate feed. So if I'm the host, instead of Sue being over, it's always backwards
Over
on screen,
here. Yeah.
over here, You could have, 20 people, maybe they're VIP people also that are your big
Right.
donors. It's a special way of giving them visibility in front of their community, and you could incorporate that toast into that live event.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's kind of fun, that, and you kind of touched on also a little bit of the recognition of where it's like, okay, who's donating?
Right.
And you want to see your name pop up if you're part of it, and you want to see like, oh my gosh, so and so's on the call too, and they're there and they donated, and that's really amazing. And there are a lot of platforms that are those donation platforms that we can bring in as a feed, so you can see who's actually donating in real time,
Right.
which is awesome. You can see their name up on the screen, and you get your name up on the screen. So that's a fun part too, is
Mm-hmm.
seeing what's going on. And we talked a little bit about doing live auctions and also the online auctions. What I have seen, I've talked to a lot of people, and some of the ones that we've done that has been successful is doing those virtual silent auctions online and starting them about a week ahead of time and getting people going. And it's also building the awareness for the culmination of the event. And then incorporating a little bit of a live auction where you've got an auctioneer. You get Senator Mike McGuire. I mean, he makes the rounds. I love that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he does a great live auction. He gets the crowd riled up and can get you excited. And those have been very successful because it is exciting for those really cool auction items. The
Yeah, and I
one
think
thing that
oh, go ahead.
go ahead. No,
I
you
was
go
going to
ahead.
say one thing that it also I think about is who your host is, and I'm sure we'll
Oh,
talk about that
absolutely.
later. But this is one of those ways. If you want that auction to take off, you want excitement. The person that's being the auctioneer, the host, is going to help drive that energy.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, Senator Mike McGuire, one of the best around. We love him. So, but one of the things that we've seen, I've seen it on a couple of different ones that we've done, and also I've talked to a lot of people who've done their virtual events. That seems to be a little more of a challenge, and that's the paddle raise, where it's kind
Mm-hmm.
of like a fund a need. Hey, for $500, this is going to help this many people or this program, and those just kind of those paddle raises, which which I'm feeling like I'm not sure it's translating well with virtual events, just because of that whole in-person
Mm-hmm.
experience of who's paddle raising and things like that. If I would love to hear if anybody's done a paddle raise with a virtual nonprofit event. How did it go? What did you do to make it successful? Because the people I've talked to, that's been a little bit of a struggle to translate that from a live in-person event to virtual. So
Yeah, and
I don't know.
obviously just leave a comment below. Let us know, or if you have any questions, feel free to leave questions down below or suggestions. We always love to
Exactly.
hear from you, the audience.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we
We
do.
want we want your feedback.
Yeah.
We like feedback. Yeah. So we talked about the wine, doing a virtual, you know, virtual booze tasting. I mean, we've got distilleries here in Sonoma County. You can have
Mm-hmm.
an expert on there to do a tasting with you. Cheese, chocolate. How amazing does that sound? That sounds like a Sonoma County, wine country event
Booze,
that
cheese,
people
and chocolate. Is that it?
exactly. Like you got me. You got me. And then of course the interaction you and I talked a little bit earlier about ways that you can still interact through Facebook with Facebook comments, and
Right.
also super chat on YouTube, which is cool that you can also donate money right there through their chat, which is it's a pretty cool feature.
Right. And you don't have to be a certified nonprofit in order to do that.
Right.
Whereas if you want to take donations on Facebook, there's some preliminary steps that you need to take to verify that you are I forget whatever the designation is.
501c3.
501c3.
One of those.
One
One
of
of those.
those.
But the other thing that I think is super fun, and a lot of people have done it, is the jewelry auction or the jewelry raffle, where you've got a really nice piece of jewelry or something like that that's going to be raffled off or auctioned off. because it gets the excitement going because it's like, who's going to win that piece? That's like, and a lot of the jewelers really like to be involved in that. It's something you could either sell raffle tickets ahead of time and pull the raffle ticket live on your show.
Wouldn't
Yep,
it be fun if you got two local jewelers and you could actually have a jewel
a
off,
jewel
jewelry
off.
off? Whatever,
Well,
whatever it is, because we've talked about that where like in the wine industry as an example, and I'm sure there's a number of wineries that do events of some sort, but wouldn't it
mhm.
be great to have other winemakers taste other people's wine? So
Oh
because
yeah,
part of this is like, okay, how do we, if, and we've talked about this a number of times, let's reinvent the wheel at this point. I mean, it's one of the great things that 2020 has given us is the
yeah.
ability to just go, okay, shave your head and leave a mohawk. You get to
You
try
did.
things differently, where normally we've been stuck in such, we just get stuck in life and we
Right.
don't realize that there's other options. And so it's kind of like, okay, well, what can we do that's uniquely different that maybe nobody's thought of? And wine people love to talk about their wine, but wouldn't it be cool to get a couple of wineries to talk about each other's wines
Each
in
other's wine. That
some
would be.
way? And then you could turn it into, how do you turn that into a donation opportunity? I think of like dueling pianos,
Oh
right? You
right.
get the
Yeah, I
two
love that.
pianos at the bar, and
You
they're
could
like,
actually
hey,
do dueling pianos.
yeah, and but it's all about getting the tips, right? So it's the donations. Hey, donate
Right.
for this winery or donate for this winery and see which one wins. And maybe whichever winery does win, the other winery has to match the proceeds up to a certain dollar amount. There's just all kinds of
I
fun
love that.
things you can do.
So many things you can do. I mean, and you talked about having those, a group setting, Zoom capture,
Hmm.
and if you sent them all, a really cool hat, to take in the photo in the toast,
Right.
or a T-shirt, or a something
And it could be
something that
a silly hat,
brings
even
everybody.
with the holidays
Yeah,
coming up. It's kind of
absolutely.
like, okay, you've got Halloween for people that are interested in Halloween. You get to collectively together put on your best outfit. But then, of course, there's the ugly sweaters are coming up. So there's lots of opportunities out there.
There's lots of fun things that can be done, and that's what I love about what we're doing, and especially working with some of the nonprofits that we've been working with, where we get to be creative.
Right.
We get to come up with something that's like, okay, well, what if we did this? I mean, when we worked with Council on Aging, Lauren was the dancing banana. I mean, yeah, she was having fun with it, and people loved it, and
Yeah.
it worked.
And it
That
drove
maybe
donations.
it did. And that may not be for everyone. That's not everyone's
Right.
style, but we were able to come up with something really cool that worked out. We kind of came up with this whole creative thing that integrated well,
Right.
and it was successful for them.
And
So,
and and what you could do, I know they have like little noise makers where if you push a button, it makes a sound. And
yes,
so for every $250 or for every $500, somebody, gets to push the button and put their name out. So there's all
I like
creative
the
ways that you could have confetti cannons going off. Whoever donates
I
a
was going to
thousand
say
dollars,
I like the confetti
yeah,
cannons. Those are just too fun.
yeah, they have machines that'll blow up balloons until they pop. There's
Oh,
all kinds
nice.
of, yeah. So anyway, there's lots of fun
All kinds
different
of stuff.
things, and I think ultimately because we could get lost in the fun aspect of it, right?
Yes. Yes.
Is regarding fun, think outside of the box. Allow yourself to kind of reinvent what a fundraising event is supposed to be, and let's get rid of the
Yes.
supposed to be and go, what would we like it to be? And more importantly, what would our audience like it to be? How can we
Like it to
get
be.
them excited? Because
Yeah.
if we go back to the host that we talked briefly about, if you bring a host in who is like, hey, everybody, we've got some great guests, we want your money. It's If you're going to put people to sleep and give them hot cocoa at the same time, you're probably not going to make as much money versus bringing on, say, a Mike McGower, and
Mike McGuire.
who,
Yep.
right, who's going to add a lot of energy. So, the other thing I would say is make sure you know that your host understands what live is, because right now, even though
Yes.
you're below me on my monitor, I can see you. I'm really
Uh,
not paying attention to you because I want to make eye contact with the camera in front of me,
right.
which is kind of awkward because normally we want to make eye contact when we're having conversations. But
That's
in
right.
order for you to see my eyes or who's ever watching to see my eyes, I have to look into the camera. So it takes some practice that maybe somebody who's used to doing live events in
Hmm.
person,
In person, yeah.
they got to kind of practice so it translates.
It is a little bit different. And if you're not used to looking into a camera and speaking to a camera as your audience, it can come off a little awkward.
Yeah.
And so, definitely finding somebody who's, had some experience doing some on camera, hosting work, or at least they're willing to do some practicing
Mm-hmm.
with the camera. Because, like you said, when you're at those live in person events and you're on stage, I've hosted a number of different events, and you want to make that eye contact with all those people,
All right.
to almost kind of even call them out, to be like, I see you. You better raise your paddle right now, or, those
Mm-hmm.
kind of things. And it's a little bit different when we're doing it on a camera. So
All right.
definitely something to think about for sure.
All right, great. And then I know you have a bunch of other great ideas because we've got about 10 minutes left.
Oh, well, there's okay. So I've heard that people have done, we haven't done one virtually yet, but I've heard some people do the dessert auction, which is always great.
Mm.
And I know it's always great in a live in person event. So there are things like that you can do that are still really fun, get people excited. There's the other one that I don't know what they call it. I can't remember what they call it, but it's like the last person to bid
Oh,
$100
yeah, I
gets the
remember you talking
whole
about that.
prize.
Right.
So they start out and it's a certain amount of time. So they do it like within, you know, 4 minutes or something. And so if you raise your hand, you're donating that $100. But if somebody raises their hand after you, you're still paying the $100, but you didn't win. So it goes down to the end. So you're down to the very last, they're doing a countdown on the time. And the very last person who bids that $100 or whatever it
All
is
right.
going to win the prize. So the beauty of that, and I've seen it done virtually very well. And the beauty of that is you get a lot of people in the room to raise their paddle, especially at the very, very end. It's like, and
Mm-hmm.
you can raise your paddle several times. You could quickly be in for $1,000 if you raised it
Right.
10 times because you want to win. I like
Right.
those competitive people.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I almost see it's like playing Monopoly where you land on the parking.
Yeah,
Was it no parking or whatever? And
it's,
then with
it's
all
like
the money
free
that was
parking.
collected during the
Oh,
game, you
right.
get to take home with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. So everybody's kind of participating, but you get the big prize if you were the very last person to raise your
Right.
hand. So there are a lot of things like that that are that we have been done live in person, and things that are new, trying new things. I like bringing on the guests.
Yeah.
Doing a virtual happy hour kind of thing, so you get people kind of in the mood for a festive time.
Mm-hmm.
I like doing those kind of things. Like I said, me. I know you don't partake in the beverages. I do. And so that's a big part when I would go to the live events. I like looking, where's the food? Where's the big dessert table? And where's the,
Right.
where's the booze? So,
Right.
how can we best incorporate those things? And I think it works out well by, doing a care package, having a demonstration from some of the experts in town.
Right.
Um,
And I
yeah,
want to touch on the demonstrations is that even though it's a live event, that doesn't mean all the components. And I'm sure anybody who's been
that's
in the
true.
live space now, nonprofit, understands this, but um, it's okay to mix in recorded pieces. So if you have an
Yes.
entertainment, the mic up and sound check a four-piece band, as an example, is much easier in a studio when you can just record
Right.
it and then it
Yes.
is going to be trying to do that live. So
That's
pick
right.
and choose your battles as far as which
Yeah.
pieces are going to be live and then which pieces are going to be pre-recorded. But and like a mixology, and you could maybe
Yeah.
part of the care package is you send all the ingredients for a
For
mixed
the
drink
drink.
if that's your
Yes.
audience.
Right.
Or
Exactly.
maybe
If
you
that's
have
your
an option,
audience. Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Do you want the 3 pack of wine, or would you like the mixed drink option?
Right.
And then part of the live entertainment piece or I shouldn't say live entertainment, but part of the entertainment piece could be the mixologist going, okay, this is how you
Right.
incorporate Mountain Dew into your mixed drink to give it a really good kick.
I know you're the Mountain Dew fan, but I'm glad you said that about the recorded pieces too, because because these are nonprofits looking to raise funds. You need that emotional pull,
Right.
and this is a great way to use the pre-recorded videos for testimonials, and some highlight reels of different things, maybe about your nonprofit and the services that you provide, so people are getting educated about what you do and who you're serving, why people should raise their paddle. If you can get them to cry, they're going to donate money.
Right.
That's like the beauty of these things. You get them to cry, you get an emotional response.
Right.
You can't help but say yes to donating.
You just got to make sure that you time, and that's the live aspect, right? Is making
Yes.
sure when you have these pre-recorded pieces. So we talk about the run of the show and how important the run of the show is, because there should be emotional ups and downs, and you
Yes.
want to time those with, okay, hey, now we're going to do dun 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 in order to raise money. And
Right.
so, if you have a live, or I shouldn't say it live, but a silent auction that's been running for the last week, it might be important up front just to remind everybody, hey, this is where you want
Right.
to go, double check, see where your current bid is, and then maybe include a game where, if somebody does this, we'll do dun dun dun,
Yes.
to get people excited about checking it out or create mystery around it. Yes,
Yes.
we
I
have the
like that
silent
too.
auction. We've added a mystery item just today. And
That would be
so,
awesome.
so thinking again outside of the box, because if
Outside
you
the
can get
box.
people to the silent auction page because you piqued their interest in some way and they haven't actually even looked at it, and then there's like, oh my gosh, there's this great pedicure or some, I don't know, Annie Petty package, like, ooh, let me get all excited. I just might have to bid on that because it's only at $300 so far.
Right.
I don't know.
Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, I think and like you said, kind of that the ups and downs of the show, and that's all basically driven by your host,
Right.
and how we are putting that show together. What comes next? What's the most important thing to have in the script? Oh, the script. Y'all got to
Script.
think about the script. The script. You can't just do this like completely on the fly. Although we do a lot of stuff on the fly, but
Right.
for a successful nonprofit fundraiser, see, there you go. For a successful nonprofit fundraiser, the goal being to raise the money. How are we going to do that? And that's that run of the show, and that's all of the planning. What comes first? What comes next? Where's the energy? Where's the little bit of the, okay, this is more serious, and now we're back up into some fun and things like that. So
Right.
so yeah, that's all key for having a successful nonprofit event.
All right. Perfect. And typically, if people don't have ideas on what a script is, I mean, does it need to be verbatim or bullet points? I know you like to use
Um,
3x5 cards, right? How do
I'm a
you?
yeah,
What's kind of your process?
well, I'm a bullet point kind of person. If I've hosted a lot of events, and so I will do the research as to who is it that I am going to be working with. So I know a little bit about them. I probably talked to the people who are putting it on. I know what's happening, so I know why everyone is there and why they should be donating. So I don't have to read things verbatim. A lot of times they want you to read something that's very specific. Maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
part of their required, which that's not a problem. I tend to really want to put things in bullet points. And if I know what the bullet points are and I already know what those items are, I can just go.
Right.
Um, and we've talked about that with a script where it's like, if you write it word for word, you're going to read it word for
Yeah.
word. That's
Yeah.
just human nature. I don't care how much you've been on stage. If it's right there in front of you, you can't help yourself.
Yeah,
You just can't.
and as an MC, you're not going to be in front of the camera the whole time. So maybe having
Right.
a 3x5 card for your introduction, and then knowing
Exactly.
that you're going to turn it over to entertainment or what, somebody else is going to talk, whatever it is. And then understanding, okay, when I come on live again, what is it? Where are we at in the show, the flow of the show?
Right.
Where are we at in the donation process, so that you've got those bullet points? Okay, I need to make sure I hit this, and this in
Exactly.
order to maximize the potential of getting those donation dollars in.
And that's a good point for some of the silent auctions. If you're continuing your silent auction through your virtual event, to while the entertainment's on, finding out where are we with some of those auction items. Okay, where are we on the Hawaii item?
Right.
We need to tell people about this again, because we're not getting as many hits as we would like on this one.
Right.
And knowing which items to highlight and when.
Yeah.
So that's all
might
part of it.
and which one might be competitive, just to remind people,
Yeah.
hey, we're doing really good here. The other one is when you're doing live events, having a ticker, or even like we've got up top, having some static language to let people know what to do. Because the reality is you can send email after email, where to go, how to log in, how to do things. The reality is a lot of people aren't going to pay attention. They just want to, show up. Here's the event. Oh, there's an auction. I didn't know there was an auction. So have that information up top, down below, so that you make it as easy as possible for people to find their information.
And speaking of making things as easy as possible, because like you said, people can't remember. It's hard to see something on the screen and then have to go find it on their computer or their phone. We highly recommend getting a vanity URL, something that's specific to your event. That is, whatever your name is, Smith Donate Now, whatever it is, just because that's way easier than trying to do the, xyzcompany.com/ this and that go to our events and then donate. It's like, oh man.
Right. Yeah. And just so people who may not know what a vanity URL, it's something that from a marketing point of view is really easy to remember, like COA donates, or 2020 live auction, something that's super simple to remember.
Super simple.
And then you're not actually going to build out that URL. It simply redirects. When people type it in, it's going to go to that long, complicated one that's actually on your website. So it's going to push people to your website real easy.
Yeah. And that, like I said, I mean, when people, it's hard enough to, try to type in and wait, oh, now it's not on the screen. Where did it go?
Especially one of these devices. I'm like, oh my gosh.
So yeah, the vanity URL, that's another way to be successful with getting people to making it super, super easy for them to get on and donate and be a part of your event.
Yeah. So, and also to make things super, super simple, with the holidays coming up, I should say this is really Sue, if I can get this to go,
you got it.
Is the virtual holiday party in a box. So if you're wondering, what should you be doing, maybe for your nonprofit, for your business, because people that tend to be with nonprofits tend to be givers. And so they're also they're the employees at work that are like, oh my God, yeah, I'll put on the holiday event. We're not going to be able to go to, Starks or wherever this year. So Sue put together, I should say that, with all her years of experience.
We did it together.
But this is really Sue's experience here. Virtual party in a box. I forget how many pages it is, but it kind of steps through, gives you a plan of attack. It's a free download. We'll put a link down below so you can get that if it's relevant for you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, cool.
Fun stuff.
Is that it?
I think so.
All right. Well, if that's it, I'm going to bid you adieu until next Tuesday.
Okay, next Tuesday. I'll see you here, 4:00. I see you here.
Pacific time. And don't forget, we have daylight savings on Sunday. So
Saturday night.
We'll be here at 3:00, which will actually be 4:00, or maybe it's 5:00, which is actually 4:00. I don't know. But either way, we'll be here.
We're just going to have a whole, universe reset on Saturday night. That's it. We're resetting the universe.
There we go. Let's do it. All right. I bid you adieu. Thank you all for watching. Take care.
Bye.